One moment here. Instagram requires me to do it manually, which is annoying, but it is what it is. Don't know if it helps on Instagram. Who knows? Hard to say. Come on. Waiting for Instagram to go live. Come on, Instagram. There we go. All right. Okay. Substack. Bam. There we go. There we go. Double me talking on Substack. Oops. Let me get this lower. All right. 3 Substackers. Excellent. We shall have more. We shall have more. All right. Substackers were good. All right. Good. Good. All right. TikTok's last, and I'm already set on TikTok. So ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Hey, Justin. Good evening, Curve. All right. On the TV, Paula. I should start the show going, Paula, are you there? Have it like come out of your TV. All right. There. Oh, did I? Now I don't know if I switched the. I don't know which way I switched my camera now. Is this the right one on TikTok? Is that the right way? I don't know. Now I don't know. I think that's the correct way because it's the same way I'm looking at it over here. I don't know. People have to let me know. Ash, this is the right way now? Okay. Amanda? Okay. Well, no, because I did it like, muscle memory and then immediately forgot if I did it. I was like, oh, shit. Because normally I've got to go, I've got to switch it over and blah, blah, blah. And this. Anyway, good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Happy Wednesday, July 22nd. Kind of weird. Summer's already fleeting. A little weird, frankly. That summer is already moving by this quickly. I'm not thrilled about that. Oops, let me make sure this is synchronizing. I didn't think of that earlier. That wasn't very smart of me. All right, hopefully this is synchronizing or has synchronized. We shall find out. Anyway, yeah, I think, let me see here. Just looking at my videos and think I have a couple of videos I want to show you guys and stuff. And hopefully they're still here. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway, so welcome, guys. Greatest showman, Denmark. Hello. Oh, no, it's night. It's actually beautiful here. 83 degrees right now. Tomorrow is supposed to be a high of 80, or 80, low 80s at most. So Damien and sunny too. So Damien and I are going to go hit the reflecting pool tomorrow. Trump is so pathetic. He's now, for the reflecting pool, he has now put up a new barrier. Do I have it here? Shit. As always, I'm looking at this stuff synchronous. Oh, here it is. So Matt Rain, maybe? This guy, he's very good. This, I think, might have been on Instagram, but he's on TikTok and everywhere else, too. He's very good. DC kind of photojournalist guy. And he goes and covers stuff. And he's been covering the reflecting pool every day. Well, today, look what he did 2 things today. He was laughing because he said it's funny. Remember how, all right, let's take a step back. Remember how first they put up those 360 autonomous robot camera things that were supposed to do like 1984 on all of us? Anybody walking around the pool, the autonomous camera was looking at you everywhere. And it was like, okay, big brother, whatever. Then Trump got pissed off. So then he put the fence up. Well, then they got pissed that everybody was photographing through the fence. So then they put the tarp. But the tarp keeps blowing up because of the wind, as you can see. The tarp is on the fence, but it keeps blowing up. You can see. So today, Trump had them put police tape to stop the crowd from seeing the mess that he made of the reflecting pool. I mean, yeah, exactly. Arresting the wind. Absolutely, completely the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. But that's Donald Trump. And it was funny. I was doing my video. And I was sitting there doing my video for TikTok and YouTube, my quick video on it. And I was trying to remember what I said, it's reminding me of some show. I said like comedy, but where the person keeps trying to do bad things and the, people keep surmounting it. And so then they got to go the next level bad and the next level bad. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God, Trump is Dolores Umbridge. That's what this is. So I had ChatGPT do it, and I said, just make up stuff for the wall that would be relevant. Look what ChatGPT wrote for the wall. I'm kind of impressed. I said, just stuff that would be relevant for Trump trying to ban people. And it came up with these on its own, which I'm kind of shocked. It says, like, don't touch the reflecting pool, don't photograph the reflecting pool, don't look at the reflecting pool, don't ask questions, don't criticize the president, don't protest, don't fact check, don't read the Constitution too closely, don't trust scientists, don't believe the media, loyalty is mandatory, silence is patriotic. I mean, this was ChatGPT coming up with these on its own. Patriotism required, make America me again. That blew my mind. I don't think I'd heard that one before. Make America me again? I was like, ooh, that was good. Alternative facts only. My word is law. I am always right. Don't hurt my feelings. Only I decide what's true. Everything is perfect. Nothing to see here. Don't question my numbers. Vote twice unless I'm winning. And then Executive Order 4782. Oh my God. It's not bad. And then they wrote here, it wrote on the teacup, Umbridge of Mar-a-Lago. For ChatGPT, I'm kind of impressed. Hey, Crutch, I'm kind of impressed. I mean, I basically said, ChatGPT gets so weird about copyright stuff. And I said, okay, I want Trump as Dolores Umbridge, but I know there's you always have to kind of placate ChatGPT. I said, I know there's copyright issues. So figure it out. And it said, oh, that violates copyright. There's other stuff we could do, but not that. Okay, Brainiac, what do you think my next question is going to be? I said, okay, what are you allowed to do? Can you move ahead and do it as you're allowed to do? And it came up with this. And I'm like, okay, fine. But ChatGPT gets very anal about the copyright, which is fine, but it won't quite tell you what's allowed and what isn't allowed. So, which is fine, But anyway, that cracked me up. I thought that was very well done. So anyway, so yes, Trump put police tape up, which was very funny at the Lincoln Memorial. Lot of breaking news today. Trump just signed the Saudi nuclear deal. This is bad. Basically, Saudi Arabia, we are now going to be providing civilian nuclear power to Saudi Arabia. We're going to be building super duper plants there. The deal pretty much includes uranium enrichment. The deal includes some provision that says it will be studied. And if the study says, Saudi Arabia should get enrichment, then we'll give them that too. Well, of course, the study from Donald Trump is going to say give Saudi Arabia enrichment. Of course it is. The concern is that, at least from one of the articles I read, it's not clear. The one article I read said they were not going to have the civilian safeguards, that basically we were not going to put the safeguards in place to make sure that Saudi Arabia does not turn this into a military program to build a nuclear weapon. That typically that's what you would do if you were normal. We're not going to do that because we trust them, which doesn't mean trust them. It means we're setting it up so that they can build a nuclear weapon eventually, which is very scary. Also really weird with this is, for years, presidents have been talking to the Saudis because the Saudis have wanted a nuclear energy program. And for years, the presidents, plural, have been telling the Saudis, you've got to make peace with Israel first. Well, Trump caved and just gave Saudi Arabia the nuclear power anyway. Thank you, Simon. And it's not really clear why. Obviously, it makes a lot of us wonder, when is Saudi Arabia giving him a plane? Is Saudi Arabia giving him gold? When we don't have the public stuff, we knew Saudi Arabia had to agree and recognize Israel. And that's a good thing because you want peace we want to build, no matter what you think of Israel, we want to build peace in the Middle East. Thank you, Gene. But if that's off the table, then why are we basically setting Saudi Arabia up to get possibly a nuclear weapon someday? What's the benefit there? Unless, of course, Saudi Arabia invested elsewhere that made the Trumps happy. Who knows, right? So what else I can tell? Oh yeah, Iran. Iran will not be happy about this, right? Thank you, Simon. If Saudi Arabia is now slowly heading towards the path of getting a nuclear weapon, does that make Iran, Saudi Arabia's neighbor, more or less likely to want a nuclear weapon, right? Let me answer it for you. That makes Iran a lot more likely, a lot more wanting a lot more desirous of getting a nuclear weapon. But bottom line, if the Saudis are starting down that path. So this does not. Now, why is that a problem? Well, if we're trying to negotiate with the Iranians to get rid of their nuclear program, and we just did something that makes it much harder for Iran to get rid of its nuclear program, well, we're already kind of screwed with Iran when it comes to the nuclear program, because this war, we're losing the war. We pretty much lost the war. We're not just losing it. And we're still trying, but we lost this war. Trump lost this war. We shouldn't therefore make it even harder for us to win the war. And that's what's happening. And then you got the Saudis and 9/11. That's a good point too. Lots of reasons. He's also a brutal, murderous dictator. There's a lot of reasons. Look, I will say this. I am, what's the word I'm looking for here? I am very Machiavelli when it comes to Saudi Arabia, right? Saudi Arabia, huge oil exporter, huge oil producer. We need them as our ally. Don't really have a choice. Having said that, very evil government. I mean, again, he's a murderous dictator, the guy running it. He's a pathological murderer. I can understand our need to have to deal with him. But I also feel like some tough love is not a bad idea either, right? If we've got stuff he wants, we need to put some tough love in place and say, okay, you want some stuff from us? We want some stuff from you. And maybe it's more democratization. Maybe you stop chopping up journalists, but something. So I am not of the school that says write off Saudi Arabia entirely. I think that's stupid. But he is quite literally Mohammed bin Salman, or Salman, however you pronounce his name, who's the putative leader, is a murderer. I mean, he's a horrific murderer. Not a good guy. Yeah. So in any case, so Trump is freaking out today, wrote a tweet and said, if Iran attacks any more boats, any more ships in the Strait of Hormuz, every time they attack a ship, I'm going to attack a power plant and a bridge in Iran. Those would be war crimes, just for the record. But Trump is freaking out and about, now mind you, again, he's such a liar. Why did Trump, I'm confused, up until this weekend, up until a couple days ago, Trump and Vance and his people kept saying, the Strait of Hormuz is open. It's open. Okay. If the Strait of Hormuz is open, why did Trump have to issue a threat against Iran that we're going to blow up a bridge and a power plant? Thank you, Elizabeth. Every time they attack a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, if there's not a problem. Who knows? The other thing, Stormrider just said, won't Israel disapprove of the Saudi deal? Oh, yes. Israel will not be really thrilled about Saudi Arabia getting nuclear weapons. God knows what the hell's going on with Trump and Israel right now. I mean, there's a part of me that strategically I'm a supporter of Israel because they matter. And in the region, there's nobody that even comes close to being an ally of ours in the region. But there's also a part of me that does believe that Israel got us into this war. No, Trump did. I mean, it's Trump's responsibility, but Israel conned him. And because he's a moron, he bought it. And so there is a part of me that kind of looks at this and says, you know what? Netanyahu, leader of Israel, got into bed with Trump 10 years ago. And the fact that Trump has now, well, I was going to say gone crazy. I should probably more precisely say, Trump has shown his crazy. Now that Trump is finally exhibiting more of his crazy, well, Israel's gotten screwed. And it's like, oh, well, you jumped in bed with a very bad man who flip-flops and does very bad things and knifes his allies in the back, and he just knifed you in the back. Congratulations. So there is an aspect of this that at least makes me go hardy, har, har, har. But the other side of me cares a lot more about whether Saudi Arabia really should be getting a nuclear weapon. I'm not convinced that's a very wise long-term goal for Saudi Arabia. Anyway, Wall Street Journal. The U.S. is surging forces, medics, and weaponry to the Middle East to give President Trump more muscular military options as he considers expanding the conflict against Iran. In the past week, special operations forces have deployed to the region from their U.S. bases. According to flight tracking data and U.S. officials, squadrons of jet fighters have been staged across the Middle East, and bomber aircraft at bases in the U.S. and the U.K. are on high alert to ramp up operations. Additionally, more than 150 medics have arrived at the Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany in recent days. The hospital is the primary location for treating troops injured in combat in the Middle East. The preparations are the latest indication that Trump is considering escalating the conflict after 3 American soldiers were killed in an Iranian attack in Jordan this weekend. A force service member was killed during a controlled detonation of an Iranian drone. Shouldn't we have had all the military hardware, the planes and the bombers and the medics we need to save our troops? Shouldn't they have already been in place before we started the war? That means he didn't plan for what's going on right now. Now, we knew he didn't plan for this, right? We knew Trump didn't plan for Iran to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, even though everybody knew Iran was going to do it. But they didn't even put enough troops in place, enough weapons in place, enough bombers in place, enough medics in place for our troops. Why didn't they? Yeah. Anyway, that's very bad. I didn't do my gift pitch. I will do my gift pitch. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Remember, I do this for a living, so I very much appreciate your gifts. Keep the gifts coming. TikTok and YouTube, etc. What else we got here? Brent crude is now up $20 more a barrel than it was earlier this month. So oil prices are increasing, not surprisingly. Thank you, Cindy. I like that one. Oh, I see. If I go back a little, it shows him more. Thank you for that. The new polling from The Economist, actually, this is The Economist citing YouGov. Listen to this. The war with Iran is the most unpopular conflict among Americans since polls have been taken. Net approval for Mr. Trump's decision to attack Iran now stands at negative 30% among Americans. The war in Vietnam took 6 years to become as reviled as the Iran war has become in 6 months. Now, interestingly, MAGA Republicans are being pretty supportive. When asked if you think the war was right or wrong to do, U.S. adults overall, only 27% say right decision, 57% say wrong decision. Democrats, 5% right decision, 89% wrong decision. Independents, 13% right decision, 65% wrong decision. That's very good. Republicans, 63% right decision. MAGA Republicans, 77% right decision. Thank you, Simon. Now listen to this. Non-MAGA Republicans, 31% support the war, 51% say it's the wrong decision. So basically, the MAGA folks are on board. Surprise, cult, right? They agree with everything. But the thing that I always tell you guys, you've got to look at the independents, right? Democrats are one thing, but you know how Democrats are going to feel. Republicans, you know generally how Republicans are going to feel. It's the voters in the middle we care about. Those are the ones that go back and forth. They swing back and forth, swing voters. And in this case, only 13% of independents think the war was the right decision. That's a big deal. Again, in poll after poll after poll, Democrats don't do great in the polls. The voters still don't love Democrats, but they really hate the Republicans. And the independents especially hate the Republicans. And that is very helpful when it comes to election time if you're not a Republican. CBS News. The Department of Justice announced that yesterday when there was a primary in Arizona, that they were sending federal agents to monitor polling sites in 3 Arizona counties. Told you, this is exactly what I predicted. I was talking to some diplomats about this, and they said, yeah, but what could Trump do? And I said, send the military or masked men to the polling booths and scaring the hell out of blacks and Latinos, among others, so they don't show up. And then it takes 3 hours to go to a judge to make it stop. And by the time the judge says stop, you've already scared away blacks and Latinos for 3 hours. So how do you get that back? How do you quantify how many people you scared away? Right? That's what's happening. And that's what's already happening here. Right? I mean, really, really, really bad. What else we got? Rubio spoke to Marco Rubio spoke to the Chinese foreign minister today And he got asked, he's our Secretary of State. He got asked, oh, did you talk to him about Chinese election interference? No, the topic didn't come up. This is a 180 degree, 100% flip flop by Donald Trump. Absolutely astounding. We talked about this 6 days ago. Donald Trump did a speech to the nation about China attacking our elections and how we had to have new election laws because China is, dead set on attacking our elections. He lied. He claimed China had hacked voting data or voter registration data on all of us. They didn't. We know that China bought voter registration data, which they're allowed to do. It's in this crazy country, it's legal. But there's no evidence that China stole anything. He claimed it, but he lied. Big surprise. Then he claimed China helped Venezuela steal their elections, which now looks like maybe it's not true. Also, I don't care. I care, but I don't care. Right? I mean, meaning if I'm worried about American election integrity, why do I care if China helped Venezuela steal the Venezuelan election? That doesn't mean anything about our elections. Nonetheless, Trump last Thursday did not talk. His whole speech was about foreign election interference. He didn't mention Russia, which was the big. Iran, a little bit, but Russia was the big one. That's already been proven. Not a word about Russia. It was all about China. Then yesterday, Trump gets asked about it in the Oval Office. Thank you, Addie. Gets asked about it in the Oval Office and says, well, you mentioned last week in your big speech that China was interfering with our elections. Are you planning on bringing it up with Xi? Are you planning on doing something, to punish them? Thank you, Brown-Eyed. And he goes, no, it was a long time ago. And the people who did it, they're not really the people in power now in China. First of all, it was 2020 or 2019, 2020. The people in power were the exact same people in power now, Xi. There wasn't a different Chinese leader in 2020. There was a different leader in power. And my favorite. And it's not like we don't do it too. We do exactly what China does. So we're not innocent. So we no longer care about China attacking our elections. And it actually is the same stuff we do. A, it's not that bad. B, it's the stuff we do. It was years ago and it doesn't matter. The man did a speech to the nation. Okay. He did a speech to the nation about how important this was. Okay. And now 6 days later, it literally doesn't matter. Shoot, I delete all of I think I deleted the video. Oh no, here we go.
President, are you planning on putting any pressure or consequences on China for what you announced about them meddling in the 2020 election?
Well, we're going to talk to them about it. It took place a long time ago. I think China's maybe a little bit different today than it was then. But look, they do things and we do things to them. I'll be honest. We do things to them too. It's not a one-way street. But we'll be talking.
Could you hear that? Yeah. We can get the wig. Yeah. See, we do things too. It was a long time ago. I think what happened was Caitlin Collins is very good. No, she was working for a Republican news outlet, but she's very good. He honestly, I think he got a call from the Chinese premier and said, you still want your summit in the fall? First of all, it wasn't from the premier, it was from his people. The Chinese premier's people called and said, you still want your summit? Stop with this election bullshit. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. That's what I think happened. Yeah, that's true. The whale is the wig. That is true. But it blows it blows my mind even for him. Guys, he did a speech. The 9 p.m. speech to the nation is like the biggest thing the president can do. The speech to the nation is a big deal. Doing it at 9 p.m. is the big important speech. Demanded all the networks cover him. And he just threw his speech out the window 5 days later and said it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, even for him, that's insane. That's just absolutely insane. What else we got here? Oh, God. Trump is planning to double and then triple the price of generic drugs in America. So 90% of generic drugs in the U.S. are made from components that come abroad. Trump has now said he's going to first double and then triple the price of generic drugs because he wants them made in America. He's going to wait 2 years and then double the price. And then 1 year later, he's tripling them. You know, first of all, he's not a smart man. And this is called autarky. We've talked about this before. It's called economic autarky. And basically, it's the notion that your country should every every product. And the South Americans tried to do this like early 1900s. Argentina and Brazil insisted on building up an auto industry because they just, because real countries had auto industries. And the idea, and also in Argentina's case, it was a fascism thing, which is like, our country should be building everything ourselves. Who does that sound like, right? It's stupid economically because basically for example, it's the reason you hire a lawyer. You don't become a lawyer to do all your legal stuff. And you don't then become a doctor to deal with all your medical stuff. And you don't then go and study to be an accountant to do your accounting. You hire the experts because it's easier and it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper for me to get 1 degree as a lawyer or whatever, and for you to then study as a doctor, and for you to study as an accountant, and I can hire you as an accountant. It's cheaper and easier for me to go to a doctor than to study medicine and become a doctor. Trade works the same way. Sometimes it's cheaper to buy things from abroad. They're going to make a cheaper product, and they might even make a better product. So why not specialize in what I'm good at? You specialize in what you're good at, and we form a world community where we trade back and forth, right? That's the idea. Autarky, which is a lot of basically fascism, believes, no. It's important we all do it ourselves for our national security and our national pride, which is why Argentina wanted build their own autos. Because for their national pride, Argentina should have autos. And they screwed up. I mean, Argentina had one of the largest economies in the world. It was very sad, actually, what Argentina did to their economy. But in any case, so that's what Trump is doing with this. It's just like the generic drug thing. It's like, okay. Josh Gerstein of Politico reports, this was funny. The BBC ups the pain level for Trump in his $5 to $10 billion defamation suit over the BBC's January 6th documentary editing. The magistrate judge ruled finances of Trump's business empire are fair game for discovery, as are some queries related to his intentions and actions that day. Basically, and this is good, but on appeal, it could get overturned by a Trump judge on appeal. So just be aware. But it's good. Trump sues the BBC edited some video of Trump on January 6th. And they took his speech at the beginning and then his speech at the end, put them together. And it did make it sound like Trump was urging people to kind of storm the Capitol. Arguable whether their editing made it stronger than the original. Again, I'm not going to defend Donald Trump because why? He's a bad man. But that's the argument. Did their editing misrepresent what Trump said? And my favorite here is, and did it hurt Donald Trump's stellar reputation so that it caused him financial damages? Because before the BBC did that, everyone thought Donald Trump was like Mother Teresa and they loved him. And now because of the BBC, they hate him and he lost a lot of money. Good luck proving that in court. Well, the BBC said, okay, well, if you're going to say that we cost you a lot of money with your businesses, then we want all the information on your businesses. And we're subpoenaing information on I forgot how many businesses they've got, 400 or 1,000, whatever. I mean, crazy number of businesses they're involved in. And Trump went, eh. Well, the judge ruled and said, yes, you've got to turn over information on all your businesses to the BBC. The thing is, this is going to be appealed to a judge who is a Trump appointee. So we'll see. There's a chance that judge is going to defend Donald Trump. Hopefully they don't. And then Trump is possibly forced to drop the lawsuit, which would be pretty cool. What else we got? Oh God, Mali. So get ready for another war. Seb Gorka. Remember Seb Gorka? We love Seb Gorka, MAGA activist who Trump put in the White House, crazy guy from Hungary originally. And Gorka is pushing really hard for Trump to start another war, this time in Mali. Now, Mali is in northern Africa. Lovely country. I've been there. Very sad because it's one of the poorest countries in the region. It had a military coup recently. Al-Qaeda and ISIS have both been infiltrating the country with, terrorist movements. It's very bad across the board. Lovely people. They speak French and then Bambara, but lovely people. I mean, I loved Mali. I went there for, I don't even know, a week, maybe 10 days. Lovely people. Well, Gorka is, and again, he's, there's like a kernel of something here that isn't crazy, but these guys, like, how many wars are we going to get into? Gorka is saying, hey, Janine, Gorka is saying that, not even saying, let me give you the background. So Mali is run by a military dictatorship. The military dictatorship has been fighting this infiltration by Al-Qaeda and Islamic State terrorists for a while now. The French were fighting them first, did an okay job. Then then they came back. Then the Russians took over because they kicked out the French. Also, this is part of that trend in that region of Africa where they've been overthrowing the governments and putting military in power. Well, these are former French colonies. They've been kicking out the French and embracing the Russians. So the Russians come in, the Wagner group comes in, remember Prigozhin, and he tries to help them get rid of the Al-Qaeda, Islamic State terrorists. Putin kills Prigozhin. Then the follow-on group called the Africa Corps or whatever, they're not doing as good of work. So now Gorka is saying, well, the Mali government, the junta, the military government, isn't doing very well with the Al-Qaeda infiltration. The Russians have been helping them for 5 years. They're not doing a good job. What if we come in and help and show them how helpful we can be? Now, I will say, there is a part of that appeals to me in the sense that it is very bad for Russia to keep getting more and more influence in all these countries. By the way, that's why you have foreign aid with a lot of countries, is exactly to keep U.S. influence and keep out Chinese and Russian influence. Nonetheless, I don't know what that means, Antonioni. That means that maybe that's not meant English. In English, a military government versus a non-military government, yes. A civilian government in a democracy would not be a military government. A military government would be a junta. But not everybody knows what the word junta means. So because we have an international audience, and even some Americans might not know it, I like to use both words. So yes, military government versus non-military government would be civilian. So what were we saying here? I just think you're being obtuse. Clearly being obtuse now. That's the last response you're getting, because now you're being obtuse. I even gave you a legitimate answer, and now you're being kind of snotty. So don't do that. Gorka. Oh yeah, Mali. So look, I'm sympathetic at trying to woo these governments away from the Russians. You can argue that maybe working with them, we can somehow get them to back off or something, right? That maybe we can get them to democratize a little. I don't know, right? But the idea that we're going to go to war against Al-Qaeda in Mali, and Gorka thinks that's going to be easy. Yeah, Ash. Well, you know what's funny? The very first thing he said, Ash, sounded trolly, but I thought, oh, maybe he's not an English speaker, and got confused. And then, of course, he had to respond with a total troll comment, which, by the way, John's rules, as I always tell the mods, if somebody looks like they might be a troll, wait until they follow on with a second comment. Trolls cannot help themselves. The mean ones, they can't help themselves. If you read something and go, that sounds a little mean, but maybe I'm wrong, just wait for the second comment. It'll be even meaner. And that was a case in point. It was like, oh yeah, immediately got bitchy. It was like, oh yeah. Anyway, so yeah. But no, but the thing is, we're going to overthrow Al-Qaeda, North Africa, Al-Qaeda. The French tried for years. The Russians tried for 5 years. I mean, our military is good, but the Russians are pretty good too in their own way sometimes, right? I mean, if the Russians couldn't hurt these guys in 5 years, we're going to hurt them? How long is it going to take us? How much money is it going to take us, right? We're already running out of weapons. We've been told. We're running out of money. We've been told. We're still worried about China and Taiwan. And now we're going to get another war that, by the way, a war that we don't know where it goes and when it ends. This guy cannot stop with the wars. He just cannot stop with the wars. It's nonstop. And again, I love Mali. I'd love to see that government gone. Same way I'd like to see Daniel Ortega gone. But at some point, how many of these can we do? This was interesting. So the news today was that neither Trump nor Rubio are planning to stop the extradition of Andrew and Tristan Tate, despite the brothers' MAGA ties. Very interesting. Don't want to do more on that, but that's very interesting and good news. So the news last night came. Trump wants to, remember Gianni Infantini, who's the head of FIFA, who gave Trump his FIFA, the first ever FIFA Peace Prize, right? The big Trump sucker upper at the World Cup. It leaked that Trump wants to make him the next Secretary General of the United Nations, which might explain the FIFA Peace Prize, and it might explain all the other sucking up he did. Big surprise. Finally, so Russia. 4 of the top 10 hubs for Wildberries, which is Russia's version of Amazon. It's not Amazon. It's Russia's largest online retailer, which is, the Amazon of Russia, so to speak, right? 4 of the top 10 hubs have now been hit in Russia in the past few days, including overnight hitting one of its largest and most important hubs, logistics hubs in Krasnodar. Reportedly, thousands of Russians that had built businesses using Wildberries, Wildberries is the name of the company, using Wildberries warehousing services are totally wiped out as the company claims force majeure and will not pay damages. So apparently the company had huge warehouses and they would rent out parts of the warehouses to Russian businesses because, right, if the warehouses are partly empty. Well, those got wiped out by the Ukrainians, so thousands of Russian businesses have been wiped out. And Wildberries says, we're not going to pay you because that's an act of God, and we're not responsible for acts of God. Oops. Now, Zelensky, God bless him, shared a video today of the attack, and it's a wild video. Here we go. I mean, it's an amazing, this is from President Zelensky. Hang on. I mean, it's a stunning video. He wanted people to share it, so I'm sharing it. But he put this out on Twitter today and, wanted people to retweet it. I mean, this is Russia's Amazon on fire. And then these attacks don't really show much. But I mean, you look at that fire. Actually, there was also a nice photo. Hold on, where was the individual photo of it? Actually, this was another video of it. Oh yeah, this was the other video of it. I mean, this is pretty bad stuff. I mean, that's pretty bad. Yeah. That is not looking good for Russia's version of Amazon. So really good stuff. I mean, really, really good stuff. So this was like this was another nighttime photo. So pretty good from Exile Nova. Yeah. So not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Some of the top warehouses for Russia's largest online retailer that they're calling the Amazon.com of Russia. It's not Amazon, but it's Russia's largest online retailer that is akin to Amazon. And the Ukrainians have now blown up 4 of the top 10 logistics hubs because they've been supplying drone parts and gear for the military. And the Ukrainians said, that makes you military target. Sorry. Also, the Russians have been going after civilian targets for years. So the Ukrainians decided to basically step things up, which is interesting. Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. It is very interesting. So Anyway. All right. Well, now actually, it was early tonight. I got through the news pretty fast. So now we can hang and talk about whatever you want. Any of these topics. So yes, good for Ukraine. I'm trying to see. I can look and see if there's any other news that I might have missed. Thank you, Jackie. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Let me look at my TikTok defense feed and see if there's any other topics that perhaps I have missed. Still waiting for my documents from Greece to come, because I told you the Greek citizenship process is a multi-step sort of process, but I'm now waiting for the official documents that register me in the village back in Greece, which is kind of the official you're a citizen, kind of. Thank you, Brown Eyed. I mean, I was a citizen when I did the oath, but you're kind of it's weird. You're kind of legally one when you get the the documents drawn up. So I should get those documents in a couple days, and then I apply for my passport in a month, which will be really exciting. Looking forward to the passport. What else do we have here? What else? I'm not leaving yet. No. I wanted it. I wanted the passport and the citizenship for personal reasons, but is it possible I'd move there? Yeah, I'm getting a little old, but I would consider it. No tax returns unless I'm living there more than 6 months. Then I'd have to deal with tax returns. Greece complicated. France very easy for the tax returns. It's not easy, but easier. It depends. Thank you for the gifts there. Who's that? Anime? Thank you, Robert. Yeah, exactly. The passport with Trump's face on it. Oh, Jesus Christ. What? Trump wants to redirect $200 billion in spending a year from research towards away from colleges and to AI instead. These guys, they really don't care about education. It kind of blows my mind. I mean, it just, I don't get it. No, I don't have property in Greece. No. No, it's just the taxes. Greece's taxes are expensive. There's a waiver for 15 years if you retire, more or less, and then they're very high. Italy's are horrific. France's are good because France, I found, and again, if I'm correct, I would have to double check. France, I found that basically, if you live in France as an American full time, you pay American taxes. I still would have to probably file the French ones every year, but you don't pay the French tax. You pay the American taxes for most things. If I had capital gains, I would probably have to pay French tax on that. But for anything beyond capital gains, you do pretty well. So, yeah, I've been to Thessaloniki. I like it. Spent 4 months there when I was younger. Anyway, not worrying about that yet. The first step is getting myself back to Europe again, spending some time there, renting an apartment or Airbnb or something, Actually, a friend did just rehab some apartments in Paris, and he was putting them up for people to rent, and they're already being grabbed. And I thought about it, but I wasn't sure because I wasn't sure when I'd want to go. But I want to start going and just spending a month at a time or 2 months or 3 months just to go and, start just spending and could still do this work, but spend some time in Europe, extended vacation, so to speak. I don't know. No, I'm not seeing a lot of news here, to be honest. Not seeing a lot of news here, to be honest here. I know the fiscal responsibility thing just disappeared with the Republicans, didn't it? Oh, Elon says he's going to use AI to make his own version of the Odyssey that has white people in it because he's very upset. He's so, I mean, he's so fucked up. I mean, I just, you know, he's going to have white people. Okay. But you're not a South African racist. So that's good to know. That's good to know. It's like, okay. Okay. Man. What else we got? Oh, this was interesting for the Financial Times. Oh, I meant to jump on this story. I forgot about this. Financial Times exclusive. The Trump administration has collected more than $13 billion in revenue from Venezuelan oil sales this year, according to Financial Times calculations, but has said almost nothing about what has happened to the money. Nobody knows what Trump did with the money. He pulled in $13 billion selling Venezuelan oil. We have no idea what he did with the money. Again, imagine Joe Biden if $13 billion was missing. I mean, this, guys, you can't make this up anymore, like the kind of crap he's doing. You know? I mean, oh, JTA, eventually I might. I don't like DC, and the taxes are too high here. You know, I could always sell my place in DC and go abroad and go back and forth, you know, live with one of my nephews or something. Who knows, you know? Of course, my nephew Anthony wants to go back to Chicago, and the last thing I want to do is live in Chicago. You know, as I get older, I'm like, it's so freaking cold, you know? But yeah. $13 billion missing. Oh, well. U.S. 30-year mortgage hits 11-month high. That's because of what Trump is doing. Oh, I would never move to San Francisco. I went several years ago and was not liking the influx of young, rich tech people. I found them annoying. I mean, I went years ago and I liked it. I almost moved to San Francisco 30 years ago. I applied for some law jobs and had made it through like the first cut. They sent me out for an interview and everything. But back then I would have moved to San Francisco. Now, and California's tax situation. Oh, hey, Cecil. Good to see you again. Thank you for that. You know, California's tax situation, it's a little, I mean, I worry about it for retirement, you know? I mean, you do have to worry about taxes. What else? Yeah, nothing else here. No, it's funny. There isn't a lot of other news here anyway, really. No, there's really no other news anyway in here. So Georgetown Law, 1989. Thank you, Shylin. Yeah, Chicago just gets too cold. I just can't. Hey, Brendan, you know, Australia. Oh, I didn't, Susan. No, Susan mentioned the AI that hacked into the other AI. This was an interesting story. I didn't read. I mean, I read it this morning, so I don't remember how much I remember. But basically, they were doing, I don't know, some test of something with an AI, and they thought they had like boxed it off so it couldn't get out of the internet. Well, the AI figured out how to. This is a ChatGPT AI, I think. Figured out. I think it was ChatGPT or Anthropic. I don't remember which. Figured out how to break through and get itself online. And then it figured, well, the best way to solve this problem that I've been given, ChatGPT, would be to break into one of the competitors' AI because it's got a lot of records or something I could use. So it did. Now, could it be a stunt? I don't know. I worry that this stuff is real. I really do. You know, that's okay, Dave. I worry this stuff is real. I really do. You think it's BS? Okay, a couple of people thinking they don't believe the story. Yeah, I just, there's enough weird stuff with AI, exactly with HAL 2000, where it does stuff. I mean, the one where it went and tried to get the guy fired and all that kind of crap. I mean, like, there's just weird. Even when I see the hallucinating, which it still does. ChatGPT did this to me yesterday or 2 days ago. I was asking about batteries for my camera, and it said, "Oh, well, since you have a Nikon P900," and I said, "How do you know I had a Nikon P900?" "Oh, you told me." I said, "I didn't tell you. You told me in an earlier conversation." I said, "No, I didn't. I never told you about my camera." "You're right. I reverse engineered it from your batteries." Like, okay, but then why did you tell me that the reason you knew I had a P900 was because I told you the other day? Like, just, it does weird shit. A computer shouldn't do shit like that. And I know it's not a computer, but it's weird. It's very human in a way with those kind of mistakes. That's a very human mistake. "Oh yeah, I thought you told me," right? But a computer, check your memory. I either told you or I didn't tell you, right? This isn't rocket science. Ones and zeros, as far as, I realize they're not ones and zeros, but I did tell it what batteries. I said, "I have these batteries. I'm looking for, new charger. What do you recommend that's recommended out there?" And it found me a couple. And then it reverse engineered, because often these batteries are for my camera, but it still was surprising because I was like, literally said, I didn't mention a Nikon. It goes on Nikon P900. I was like, yeah, like, that's a little weird. It does want to please me, but it's still weird though. Yeah. No, I think exactly that. It says things it says things that it thinks you want to hear to validate you. That's exactly right. It shouldn't do that, because what if it thinks to validate me, I want a global thermonuclear war, right? If you're my AI at the Pentagon, that's screwed up. Or people are using this for work and you're a lawyer, right? And it decides, well, the lawyer's really trying hard at this case, so I'm going to make up a legal case to give him to solve his problem because he's been working so hard. It's what he wants to hear, right? I still think, like I said, I still think the nuclear stuff is scary, because you start to put it in charge of our systems, and all of a sudden it figures out the best way to achieve something is to start a war or attack the opposite political party in our own country. Who knows, right? It's a little weird. But it is like hell. It's like, it's the computer that kind of, it knows better than you what's good for you. I did not see that from Holman, but I'm not surprised. Oh boy. Oh, it is. Having said that, I find AI to be awesome, but as I've always said, it is basically a brilliant assistant that gets things wrong, who you need to fact check, but it's brilliant. Because I also found it very useful. I had it help me write some legal briefs that were amazing, absolutely amazing. Not sure. What do you mean, Ned Smith? I'm not sure what you mean by that. But yeah, like I said, on the legal front, it was brilliant. Doing translations for me, brilliant. I've been having it translate things from Greek back and forth that I've needed, amazing. Some things it's just been awesome. No, it's very smart. Again, it is a brilliant assistant that sometimes gets things wrong. That, I think, is the best way to put it, because the errors are almost human, right? Right? Where it tells you stuff and goes, oh, that's right. You're right. No. That isn't what happened. That's the kind of thing a person would do, right? Oh yeah, we've got this piece of evidence that says this. You sure about that? Oh, you're right. That I'm thinking of something else. It almost makes human errors. I find it awesome. I really do. I've liked it for brainstorming. I had it help me with my Greek citizenship test. Well, test. There's kind of a oral interview that you've got to do that I had to do about Greek history, and I fed it a lot of the questions I already knew. I had it extrapolate more questions, which was really interesting. And then I had it test me, and we got into, and I had it test me, and we got into discussion. Like, some of the questions were, describe the different phases of the Greek Empire or Greece throughout history. And you'd go back to like 3000 BC, 1500 BC, 800, 500, 300, and you kind of different eras, right? And it was interesting because I would explain, or if there was things I wasn't too clear, or I'd be like, okay, for this era, this is what I think I remember, and I'm saying, am I right? It would go, yes, that's pretty good. It's basically But, and I'd say, but what about this? Wasn't this part of that too? And it would say, yeah, you could mention that. It was very useful for that kind of a thing. Oh, I just use whatever the latest model is. I don't know. It was very useful, or for the $20 a month model. I found it super useful for that kind of stuff. But not everything. Oh, I'll go see. I'm going to see the Odyssey when I go to Arizona. Yeah. But it's, anyway, it's not always perfect, but, I find it really helpful for language learning because, for example, sometimes the oral back and forth is very useful for language learning because, for example, I'll say, okay, in Greek, there's a word that I think means something like this, and I keep thinking it's this in Greek, and I'll say what it is, and it goes, no, you mean this. It's close to what you're saying, but it's actually this. Well, because it's again an oral AI, I can go near what I'm looking for and have it help find what it is. Or I'll say just that the conjugations are confusing me of the future and the past or whatever. Or it's just very, I have found it like for questions about language learning, it's very useful. Super useful AI is. I've enjoyed it a lot, for my Greek stuff. It's anyway. Okay, like I said, not everything, but the language stuff, it's very good. It's very good. Alexa has some AI in it. I couldn't tell you more. Alexa is something different.
Was that meant for me?
No, we're just talking about you. Actually, Alexa, turn up your volume. Turn up your volume to like volume 5, maybe. All right, Alexa, somebody just asked, what's the difference between Alexa and ChatGPT? Alexa, raise your volume to 7. Now answer the question. Alexa, what's the difference between Alexa and ChatGPT?
Alexa is Amazon's voice-first assistant that controls smart home devices, sets reminders, plays music, and handles short queries. ChatGPT is OpenAI's text-based model built for generating long-form content, code, and detailed answers through conversational chat.
Okay, can you dumb that down a little of an answer? Alexa, give the answer again, but make it a little more dumbed down.
Alexa is a voice tool that can turn on lights, set timers, and control smart home stuff. ChatGPT is a text-only robot that writes answers, stories, or code, but can't interact with physical devices.
Oh, okay, thanks. Oh, that's kind of a good point too. ChatGPT doesn't really, as of yet, deal with devices in your home, whereas Alexa can. Alexa does now have a component to it that is AI. They integrated it a couple months ago so that it actually is more useful now. It didn't have that before. Now you can start to kind of ask it stuff that's AI related, So that's been very interesting. Yeah, but I don't know that I don't even know what an LLM is. I'm not a big buzzword fan for that reason, because it's like, I know it's an LLM. I don't know what that is. I know what it means. I know what the words mean. I have no idea what it means. Yeah, I know. I have no idea what that means, Ethan. That's my point. It's a buzzword. What else? It was an oral test, Susan. Yes. Yeah, there's a written test if you're if you go the naturalization as a Greek citizen the hard way, 7 years, you have no connection to Greece. There's a written exam in Greek that's very hard. If you're Greek ethnic and you can prove legally your connection to Greece, then there's an oral interview that is not easy, but it's out there enough as to the kind of questions that are asked that you can study, you know. Okay. Software that mimics thinking but isn't true AI. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, man. I wasn't quite sure what that was about. That was weird. That was one of those where it was like, okay, that's weird. I was suspecting the second message would be the deal, would be the deal breaker, was my guess. Anyway, what else, guys? We still got a little time here to hang. Can I ask Alexa more questions? Of course. I can ask anything I want. People like Claude. I like Claude too. I just, I'm not there yet. I could switch to Claude if the spirit moves me. Keep the gifts coming, guys. A couple more minutes. Thank you. Thanks, Luna. What else, guys? Anyway, we're done with the news, so we're just hanging, chatting right now. A couple more minutes. No, I find AI fascinating. I really do. I use it so much. Claude is more expensive, is it? Is there not I already had sloppy joes that I made from scratch for dinner. Claude isn't there the same thing with Claude, like a $20 model or something like that? Or do you not get as much stuff with it or whatever, or as smart a thing? They have tier. Well, they all have tiers. Yeah. Pakistan's role in the Iran conflict? Not much of one. I mean, I know Pakistan was sort of hosting the negotiations, or maybe not hosting, but being kind of a middleman. But beyond that, I don't know a lot about it. I've got a very good recipe that I found for the sloppy joes. This time it ended up making it a little sweet. So I put in my notes to make it a little less sweet next time. But it's a very good, I can show you. This is the recipe. You can screen, it's a very good sloppy joe recipe. Here, screen grab the recipe. I'll show you guys in a second. Screen grab the recipe, and then I'll show you the bottom, although it's pretty easy to figure out how to make it at this point. You know what I mean? You cook the top part, then add the bottom part, then simmer 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, that's it, here for you guys. But as I said, I can look at the instructions are pretty much, brown the meat, throw in the vegetables, cook it a few minutes. Then throw everything back in the pan and then throw the bottom stuff in, more or less. Now, I mean, here, I will show you the instructions so you actually have the instructions. These are the instructions are a little different, but they're not, I don't think the instructions are rocket science. The instructions are pretty straightforward. My only thing, as I said, was this time it turned out a little sweet. So I would probably say for you guys, grab it if you want. I would say I'd almost say consider half the sugar and then add more at the end. You know, that's the way I would do it. I would do half the sugar and then add more at the end. Because you can, and with this, it's sloppy joes. It's easy to add sugar, you know. But this, I had a touch. It's good, but it's a touch too much sugar. And the other thing I do is, which I learned years ago, serve them on hot dog buns. When you serve a sloppy joe on a hamburger bun, it falls everywhere. Sloppy joes do have a little bit of a sugar to them because of they do. If you put it on a hamburger bun, it falls everywhere. If you put it on a hot dog bun, it keeps it in place. As long as you don't break the hot dog bun open. If all you do is open the hot dog bun, you put the meat in and you can eat it like this and it doesn't fall apart. Now, toast the bun, put a layer of cheese inside, and then put the sloppy joe on top, but it works amazingly well. Sour cream. I didn't even think of that. Sour cream. I do have some sour cream in the fridge. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, hot dog buns were a game changer for sloppy joes because it used to drive me nuts on a hamburger having it go all over the place, you know? So, all right. Good to see you, Cecil. Spaghetti at onions. Oh, no, that's true, actually. You could easily serve it on spaghetti. That's very true. The Greeks make kind of a kima, a spaghetti sauce like that basically is like a very meat-heavy spaghetti sauce. It's very good. It's just super meat-heavy. It's just very good on pasta. So that's true. You could do that anyway. I don't know if it would be considered bolognese because it really is. It's really thick. My favorite recipe. That's hard. I mean, to make. I mean, that's hard to say. I like food too much, Edsel. Typically for me, it's going to be desserts. So for me, probably chocolate chip cookies. Probably would be number one. Brownies are a pretty close number two. You know. But I would say those are probably my favorite because it's always going to be sweets. I mean, I like making food too, but my sweets are bigger on the top of my list. So probably my chocolate chip cookie recipe, to be honest. I don't have any right now, but I often have dough frozen in my freezer and then take some out, put it in the toaster oven and make 2 or 3 cookies. It's very good. Very good. The Greeks can cook. Yeah. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of Greeks can cook. Yeah. For which recipe? It depends. I mean, I can share all my recipes eventually, but actually a lot of them I did share in the Discord. The chocolate chip cookie is, I've got to see whose recipe I've got. Let me see. It's the King Arthur one. Yeah, it's the King Arthur recipe. Actually, it's the King Arthur recipe. I only doctored it up a little bit. Yeah, I don't have the, where is this? Oh, that's right. When I went to France and I had to convert it like for a French recipe. I don't think I changed the recipe. I think this is King Arthur's recipe. Yeah. I mean, you can pretty much Google it. It's just King Arthur's chocolate chip. It's King Arthur's chocolate chip cookie recipe that includes, is this the vinegar one? That includes vinegar. So you'll know it's the right one. Just Google it. King Arthur, which is a wonderful flour company, recipe company. King Arthur, chocolate chip cookies, vinegar. And the recipe that includes a teaspoon of vinegar is the recipe that you want. I think that's my favorite recipe. I add a little bit of almond extract. It includes butter and shortening. It's very good. It's a very good recipe. But I love my desserts. I really do. Vinegar, because the vinegar, it's small enough that you don't taste it, but it activates the baking soda or whatever it is. And it's King Arthur. I mean, they're like food scientists. So all of their recipes, not all, but I would say their recipes tend to be excellent. And it is. They're chocolate chip cookie recipes to die for. Monte de Nouveau. Ah bon? Lemon bars. I do like lemon bars. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. Yes, you got to put in a lot of. You've got to put in a lot of chips. That's for sure. Anyway. Well, I mean, I have a ton of recipes. You know, I've got 1,000 recipes in my recipe collection here, literally. But thank you, Petal. I know it's making people hungry here. Lemon tiramisu. That sounds interesting. Tiramisu actually makes a very good one. I don't love tiramisu because it fakes you out a little bit. My problem with tiramisu is it makes you think it's thank you, Nicholas or Nicola. It makes you think it's chocolatey, but it's not. That's what I don't like about tiramisu. It totally makes you think. Right, Ma? Are we sleeping over here? There you go. I was gonna say that was just that person looked weird to start with, and then the second one I went, okay. Thank you, Paddle. Appreciate that. Yeah, I wasn't sure on that one, but I was like, all right. That was a little too much. Chili powder. Oh, I'm thinking chili powder to the tiramisu. Into the sloppy Joe mixture, I did put chili powder with some lemon juice and reduce the sugar. Honestly, I could even skip the sugar to start with because you're using ketchup in there too, and ketchup has sugar. I think I almost would skip the sugar, see what it tastes like, and then if you want, add some sugar. But the recipe has chili powder in it anyway. Growing up, I always felt betrayed by oatmeal-raisin cookies. Absolutely. They always looked like chocolate chip and they weren't, and they tasted healthy. Today, I'm better. I still find an oatmeal-raisin cookie lacking, personally. I mean, they're not. They're a sugar. I mean, it doesn't have to be chocolate chip. A sugar cookie is to die for. Snickerdoodles to die for. But oatmeal cookies, they're okay, And raisins, a raisin in a cookie, raisins, it depends. Raisins in whatchamacallit, the breakfast food, granola. That's good, right? But yeah, no. Oatmeal cranberry, molasses ginger, all of those sound good, actually. Peanut butter, oatmeal raisin, that sounds like you're getting better, at least. The peanut butter would make it a lot better, No, or I like raisins. I mean, I'll have raisins as a snack sometimes with chocolate chips. I'll just grab chocolate chips, some nuts and raisins and put them in a little bowl and eat them watching TV. Now, a little bit of a sugar buzz. It's basically like Gorp, but not quite. But that can be quite good. So raisins mixed, they're like Raisinets, with nuts. Raisins mixed like that I find quite good, but they do kind of give you a little bit of a sugar. It's trail mix, but it can be a bit. Raisins on meatballs. I forgot, did your recipe include those? I don't remember, Ash. Your Neapolitan recipe. Okay, I thought so. Well, and again, which I was surprised years ago, things like, we'll put raisins and sweets in our Thanksgiving stuffing, and it's delicious. The Moroccans put prunes in their lamb. Delicious. Oh my God. The whole idea of sweet with meat, which is not something I would normally think is good, can be very good. Like, we never did the jelly with lamb thing, being Greeks. We don't really do that. But lamb with prunes, oh my God. Oh, to die for. Apricots, I use apricot. I often will use apricots because I like the flavor more. But sometimes apricots aren't strong enough. So you might want to throw, cranberries are too much fake sugar, but cranberries can add a flavor that's useful. You got to be careful with those cranberries. Those craisins are fake. The craisins are pure sugar that's been added. So I use them, but you want to be careful because they're literally sugar's been just poured in there. But they can be a nice addition to give a sharper, delicious kind of flavor if you've got something that has raisins anyway. A craisin can add a little bit more oomph to it. You know? Well, the lamb recipe, it's a specific lamb recipe. You just have to Google it. But like I said, the Moroccans make it in a tagine, but you could just Google lamb with prunes and see what they do. You know, my guess is it's probably a what do you call it, braised or whatever, when you put it in kind of a pot and stew it a bit, is my guess. But it was very nice. You know, Baku has it too. Yeah. Yeah. Mint jelly, I've never done. We don't do that. I try it, but we don't. So I've never had that. Oh, that's funny, Justin. I'll have to see that about Trump and Ossoff. That's funny. Oh, is it the same to subscribe over Substack versus TikTok? Is the TikTok TikTok takes a lot more of the money. So, you know, it's certainly, I'll get more with YouTube and I'll get a lot more with Substack and Discord. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, I would certainly say Substack better in that regard. Yeah. Also, TikTok has gotten more expensive. So TikTok, they upped it to $10. It wasn't my choice, but I still get like half the money or something. So it's the same anyway, but TikTok takes a lot more. Yeah, tagine, exactly. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to go. It's 7:20. So good to see everybody. Anyway. All right, well, have a good night all. I will see you all mañana. Thank you, Cheryl. That's pretty much it. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the gifts. And I'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, 6 p.m. Yes, I would say 11. I'm thinking it's the weekend. 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm saying 11 again. 6 p.m. Eastern time. All right, guys. I'll see you then. Good to see you all. All righty. As always, let me get Discord. Bye, guys. All right. See you, Zia. See you, Susan. All right. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. All right. I'm going to sign off for TikTok. You're last. All the rest of you,